All right, let's jump right into a topic that can really make you scratch your head. How can one single figure be the eternal, never created Son of God and also, at the same time, be called the firstborn of all creation? I mean, that sounds like a total contradiction, right? But what if it's not? What if it's actually the key to a much, much bigger story?
So to get our heads around this, we're going to follow a really clear path. First, we'll look at that contradiction head on. Then, we'll explore why anyone would need this dual identity in the first place and the massive spiritual battle it kicked off. After that, we'll see what kind of inheritance was on the line, and finally, the ultimate proof that just ties it all together.
Okay, first step, only son versus firstborn. You hear those two titles and they just don't seem to fit together, but do they actually cancel each other out? Let's dig in. This is the big one, right? This is the question that drives this whole thing. On one side, you've got this idea of timeless, eternal divinity, and on the other, you've got a title that implies a starting point, a birth. It even suggests there are younger siblings coming after. So what's the deal? How can both be true?
And here's where it gets really interesting. It's all about separating two different ideas. The title only son, that's about his very nature, who he is, eternal, divine, uncreated. But the title firstborn, well, that's not about his nature. It's about a role he decided to take on. He chose to become the first creature, the pioneer, to set an example for everyone else who would come after. So you see, one is about who you are, the other is about what you choose to do.
Well, that brings up a pretty obvious next question, doesn't it? Why? Why would an eternal being choose to become a creature? Why take on this firstborn title at all? Turns out there was a very specific, very powerful reason. So it all comes down to this concept of being the original model. The idea is that for creation to understand the creator had to become part of creation. He had to provide a perfect, living, breathing template. By becoming the firstborn, he was basically saying, here's the path, follow me, so that others could follow that pattern and also become sons of God. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? This wasn't some random act, it was totally necessary. The Word had to become flesh, a real, tangible being, so that other flesh and blood beings could look at him, receive that same Word, and actually be transformed to become like him. It's brilliant, really. Now, a move this big doesn't go unanswered. This decision to create a firstborn kicked off an unbelievable cosmic drama, a spiritual war that's been raging for centuries, all focused on the birthright and the family line of this firstborn. And you can actually see this pattern play out all through history. It's like a relentless campaign to cut the line. It starts way back with Cain killing Abel, the righteous brother. Then you see these attacks trying to corrupt Abraham's family line. Later, Jacob's own sons disqualify themselves from the birthright because of their sins. And it all comes to a head with Herod, desperately trying to murder Jesus as a baby. The goal was always the same: stop the firstborn. And all those attacks, they actually worked. To a point. The firstborn birthright, the whole shebang, it got shattered. Instead of one person holding all the authority, it was split. The kingly authority went to one family line, Judah, and the priestly authority went to another, Levi. It was broken, and it needed to be put back together. And that split, that fracture, is exactly why our next section is so important. We're going to see how the true firstborn, Jesus, comes along and claims an inheritance that goes way beyond any of these broken earthly family trees. Okay, now get this, because this is where it gets really mind-bending. You'd think his claim to fame would be his family tree, right? His connection to King David and the tribe of Judah. But here's the twist. That's not where his real authority comes from. That physical line, as we just saw, was kind of messy and fractured. His true claim came from somewhere else entirely. The key to unlocking this whole thing is a mysterious figure named Melchizedek. He just shows up in the Old Testament. He's a king and he's a priest, but he has no family tree, no parents, no recorded lineage. He represents a higher heavenly order of authority. So Jesus inherits his authority not from the earthly fractured lines of Judah and Levi, but from this divine eternal order of Melchizedek. And by doing that, he pulls those two broken pieces, the kingship and the priesthood, back together into one. This chart makes it super clear. Let's just put them side by side. The earthly lineage, that was all about physical family lines. It was temporary, it was broken, and really, it was just a shadow pointing to the real thing.
But Melchizedek's order, that's based on a divine appointment. It's eternal, it's unified, and it is the true reality that the earthly line was just hinting at.
Okay, so he's got this incredible claim to the title of firstborn from a higher authority. Awesome. But how does he prove it? I mean, anyone can make a claim, right? This brings us to the final and honestly the most powerful part of the whole story, the proof.
You see, the whole job of the firstborn wasn't just to have a title. It was to be a living, walking witness. His entire life was designed to prove with his actions that what the Father said was true, that his ways weren't just right, but that they were actually achievable, and that they led to life.
And here's exactly how he did it, step by step. It's like a 4-step knockout punch. First, he lived a life of perfect obedience. He actually did everything the Father's words said. Second, because he did that, he was able to conquer sin and its ultimate consequence, which is death. Third, he was resurrected as the first fruits, the very first one to rise from the dead in this new way, which was the ultimate proof of victory. And finally, by doing all of that, he proved God's law was right all along. He showed that it's not some impossible standard, but the actual blueprint for real life. That was the proof. Let's just pause on this for a second, because the resurrection is the mic drop moment in this whole argument. It's the public, undeniable proof that he won. By being the first fruits, the number one, he wasn't just coming back to life, he was being officially stamped and validated as the true firstborn. He was the pioneer who had successfully cleared the path for everybody else. So to wrap this incredible story up, let's just hit the highlights. He's the eternal only Son who chose to become the firstborn. Why? To be the perfect model for the rest of us. He reclaimed the full, unbroken inheritance, not from some flawed earthly family, but through the eternal order of Melchizedek. His resurrection was the ultimate proof in the pudding, showing God's word was true. And the result of all that? He opened up a path for others, like you and me, to become adopted sons and daughters, his younger siblings.
And that really brings us to the final thought, doesn't it? This whole amazing structure we've walked through, the paradox, the cosmic war, the proof, it all leads right here. It creates a family with a firstborn who leads the way. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. If he's the perfect model, the one who cleared the path, what does it really mean for us to be a younger sibling in this story?